2024 is the year of the first-time homebuyer, which probably sounds backwards with an unstable economy and historically high interest rates. In this video, I'll tell you why it's a good time for first-time homebuyers to buy a home and give you access to a tool to determine if you're financially ready to buy a home. Let's first talk about what's happening in the housing market. As I said, we have really high interest rates right now. It's at about 8% as of this recording, which is the highest it's been in over 20 years. But because of that, people who currently own a home probably have a lower interest rate than that, and they're not looking to trade their 3% interest for 8%. But this is exactly why it could be a good time for first-time homebuyers to buy, because there's a lack of competition when you compare it to 2021 and 2022. There aren't as many cash offers, and we're also not seeing as many huge down payments like we were before. I saw some offers where people were offering like 50% or more down on the down payment because the market was so competitive. People were trying to do whatever they could to make sure their offer stood out. There were also people doing appraisal gaps, which if the home doesn't appraise at the purchase price, essentially people were offering to overpay for the home. Now we're not seeing that as much. I'm sure there are some markets that are still competitive and there are still cash offers and maybe even appraisal gaps, but just not as much as there was before. I've been noticing that there are loan programs that are being targeted toward first-time homebuyers, like 0% down or low percent down payment loans. So because of these reasons, that's why it's a good opportunity for first-time homebuyers to buy a home. Now, is it really a good time to buy a home? Not really, because like I said before, there's high interest rates at 8%, we have an unstable economy, and there's a potential for a real estate market crash. Although I'm not too sure that'll happen, but being that it is an unstable economy, people could lose their jobs, there could be a recession, this is not the perfect environment to buy a home in. But as interest rates go down, which I think they will go down in maybe a year or two, and the market becomes more stable, stronger buyers are going to come back to the market. They're going to make it difficult for first-time homebuyers to compete again. Now, are we going to have a repeat of 2021 and 2022 and that level of competition? I'm not too sure about that, but it's going to get pretty competitive. I know there are a lot of people that want to buy a home. They just don't believe it's the best time for them to do it. So the desire is there, but the opportunity isn't. And that's where I think first-time homebuyers have an advantage. But what it really comes down to when you're trying to figure out if you should buy a home now is, can you afford a home? I think one of the best ways to figure that out is working closely with professionals. A lender can help you determine your affordability, basically how much you can afford to buy a home for. And a real estate agent can guide you through the home buying process and tell you what to expect in your local market. One thing I'm seeing is there are some markets where prices are decreasing and the competition isn't as heavy, but then there are other places where prices are still increasing and there's still a lot of competition. So working closely with a real estate agent can give you a good idea if it's a good time for you to buy a home or not. If you need help finding a realtor, I can help you. The link is in the description. But with all that being said, you do want to do your due diligence, because at the end of the day, lenders aren't financial advisors. Basically, what a lender does is they look at all of your bank statements, income, all that kind of stuff, and they have a formula that they use to figure out how much home you can afford. Now, one of the things that they look at is your DTI, or debt to income ratio, which is basically how much debt you have versus how much income you make. Now, each lender is going to be a little bit different, but usually they want your DTI to be around 41 to 43%. This is typically the highest DTI that you can have and still obtain a loan. There are obviously exceptions to the rule, but this is just generally speaking. When you get advice from different financial experts, there are all different kinds of metrics that they use to determine how much your DTI should be. Conservative financial experts like Dave Ramsey say that your DTI for your home should be 25%. Other experts might say 28% is okay, with an overall DTI, which includes your mortgage payment and everything involved with your home, like property taxes, home insurance, and then also other debt you might have, like student loans, car payments, credit card debt. That overall DTI is 36%, is what some professionals think you should have. So what's the best metric to use? Basically, whatever is comfortable for you. What I would do is sit down and do a detailed budget. I have a free affordability calculator that you can use to determine how much you can afford. The link is in the description. So while it may not be the best time for everyone to buy a home, I do see a really good opportunity for first-time homebuyers to buy a home if they're financially comfortable and ready. I wouldn't recommend anyone to overextend themselves to buy a home ever, especially now. To learn how you can buy a home with no money down, check out this video or this video about how you can get a low interest rate. Thanks for watching to the end, especially if you're a subscriber.